So, Mr. Walmer?
And under the documents on the first page, there's key in there.
Okay. And in our documents under,
Yeah, like where you usually go for PowerPoint
okay.
on Word docs.
Oh, for the governing
Yes,
board
under the
budget.
library.
Okay, so library. And you said it's
It's
in
in
highlights. No, yeah, but then within library.
It just says on the side, right hand side, it says board budget, it's a link.
Oh, okay, it's under featured, okay.
It's so small, it doesn't even come.
You're clearly not an attorney.
Or find out how to say that loud. I think that's a factual statement.
It is a factual
It's a very
statement.
small budget.
Okay. Is everyone able to find that, who's looking for it? Okay. You may proceed, Mr. Walmer, please do.
Sorry.
Good evening once again. And what you have in that document are the results of the board's budget for the 2012-13 school year. That's in two sections. There's well, at the bottom is the clerk's fund, which is $2,000 per year. And then there's a regular district discretionary budget that includes the cost of your staff support person, Hilda, and the other things that y'all do, in services, memberships, etc. That's the top section, discretionary budget, and that was snugly spent. As you see, the budget variance at the bottom, $128 to spare. The clerk's fund, on the other hand, out of the $2,000, you spent $416.
Mr. Walmer, have we ever come close to spending the $2,000 on the clerk's fund in, well, say, the last 5 years or so since you've come back?
Definitely not in the last 3 or so, probably not. It kind of hasn't gotten a lot of attention during that time. I think there was a year or two where you didn't spend any of it.
And once upon a time, I remember we had a calendar to have an update on the clerk's fund, but we may not have had anything to update anyone on. That may be why we didn't always have that.
Well, we can do that as often as you. Okay. It seems like there was a time we did it twice a year.
It was a very, with all due respect, uninteresting item because there was not very much to report, but it seems we did it because we had to. So ASBA policy services, NSBA annual conference and travel. It does seem like that has, especially for the 12-13 budget year, I remember there were times we had all our board or almost all of our board traveling to NSBA, and last year we had, was it 1, 2?
Virginia and I went once.
Okay. So that certainly, okay.
So just as a question, is the, because we have a separate line item for the annual NSBA annual conference, which I know we approved travel for last time, and we have a travel budget. Look, I don't remember what the estimated travel costs were for going to New Orleans, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be more than what it was to go to San Diego. So does the travel line item, can those funds also be used to offset the cost of travel for NSBA, or how do you?
My department monitors the total figure, so, if it gets close halfway through the year or something, we would have a conversation about that.
I have a question. Is the whole school board part of the National Hispanic Caucus? I see membership there for $300.
What about it?
Is the whole, all of the members of the school board, or just certain members of the school board?
No, every
Oh, it's the whole district. Okay. Okay, so I didn't know that because when I go to conferences, they're meeting and I didn't know that. I could meet with them too. That because, yeah, would have been good information, okay. So are we gonna be for 2013, 2014 also?
Sure.
And for the National Hispanic Caucus with NSBA, okay.
Okay, any other questions? If not, we can find our way back to the agenda. And
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. We are into the approval of governing board member goals.
Yippee!
I don't know if I've ever heard a governing board member say that as we go into an agenda item, especially with such gusto, so. Even when they were the ones who
Yeah, they were the
wrote
ones who
them.
put it on the agenda.
So, Ms. Lasko-Kerr, would you like to, Dr. Lasko-Kerr, would you like to introduce this?
I would be happy to, thank you. So during our study session during the summer, one of the conversations that we had was about establishing governing board goals, and in particular around engagement with our schools directly via site visits, participation in events, and other types of situations where we're able to really get a chance to see the impact of our policies. And so I created a draft, which is absolutely just that, a draft for our consideration and for conversation tonight. So it's in board docs. And understanding that not everyone has the same level of flexibility in their real full-time jobs. What I've put in as a recommendation, at least as a point for conversation, as you can see, is that a goal that all governing board members visit each school at least once per year, as measured by some kind of participation in the school events, celebration, engagement and conversations with teachers and their administrators, or observations of teaching and learning. So I tried to be respectful of the fact that not everyone's able to be spending a great deal amount of time during your own real life work jobs to be in school during session. So that's just as a starting point. I can say that I really feel privileged of having been able to go to visit each one of our campuses in the month of October because I have a really flexible schedule and a very flexible employer. I was able to spend 2 hours at each one of our campuses talking with leaders, talking with their teams, visiting classrooms, seeing teaching and learning taking place, and it is invaluable. I would encourage you to do as much of that as you possibly can with your own schedules, because to me that's the only way to really have a clear understanding of the impact that we're having in our classrooms and being able to see what children are doing with respect to teaching and learning, what their teachers are doing, and having conversations with their leaders, as well as I have a whole new appreciation for Roy and his team and the things that they're doing with our physical plants and our facilities. So I feel like I'm going to be hopefully more effective and positive contribution to the board, having a real clear understanding of what's going on at our schools. And so this is really, to that end, a way for us to model what we're asking our teachers and leaders to do, which is understand and engage and be sure that we're being cognizant of collaboration and soliciting that opportunity for feedback. So it's just a draft. I'm happy to wordsmith it with you, take your feedback, rewrite it, bring it back. If we feel like it's acceptable based on the way that it is, We can certainly approve it tonight because we have a recommended action if we would like to consider it for approval, or we can, bring it back for a second read with revisions.
I would change it from will visit to, a little bit more, I'm just wordsmithing it actually. Governing board members will visit each school at least once per year.
Or encouraged or something?
Yeah,
Are you looking for some
yeah,
flexibility?
something, yeah, a little bit of flexibility. So it doesn't sound so militaristic.
On the other hand, recognizing that this is a goal and there's not
Oh, it's a goal,
our
okay.
$0 pay being at stake with this. For those who don't. For anyone who's under
You
the
won't get
impression that we are
paid
paid
your
for service on the board.
No, I like it, I definitely plan, and I right now I have the time to do it during the day, so I'd like to start to do that during the day. Sometimes I feel like I'll be intruding on learning and interrupting, so I worry about that.
And as long as the school knows that you're coming, they're usually so happy to have a board member come, and the kids are excited, and the teachers. That's been my experience in going to, as long as you give them warning, and Hilda will take care of any email and set up schedules with people, so it's not an inconvenience,
Okay. Okay.
And I think it's about helping to shape the culture of collaboration and openness, and that we're communicating to everybody, not just administrative team and district leadership, that we want and value feedback and information and input. And so I feel like when we go to them, they're able to do that much more easily and freely than having to come take their time, in their evening when they're either put on planning for school the next day, or grading or prepping, or with their own families. Then this is a way for us to model that type of collaboration and our willingness to encourage that in our district. So, I understand it's always sort of that little tension of not wanting to interfere with the teaching and learning process, but I've been assured, and I can tell you from my firsthand experience, our teachers are very used to having people come into their rooms and observe. I didn't come with anything other than myself, so it's hopefully not threatening and or not very disruptive.
I've been on the other end of it.
Yeah.
I don't like that I was teaching and had everything planned and people came in and interrupted. Mostly. So, okay.
Great job. I just have a clarification question. Will visit each school at least once per year? Do you mean school year or calendar year?
Either way, calendar, academic year, we can clarify, or calendar year. I know that there's sometimes things are happening during the summer, but not really as germane to what we're doing. So if we want to clarify that with academic year. Hilda, by the way, are you taking notes, or should I?
Of course she
Thank
is.
you. Just,
Or if we
I
just leave
offered
it like that.
to edit it then.
So we are changing it, are encouraged to, because that's what I have down so far, to take out the will,
Well, then we said it's really gold, so it doesn't matter.
so we just leave the will then?
Yeah.
So we'll visit at least once per academic year. Does that clarify? For those of you who would have had access to this goal, it is a SMART goal, just in case you were wondering.
It is
Want to make a
time.
motion?
Very time.
Yeah, that's it. Is there any other feedback or more conversation? Why would we have to make a motion on my own draft? It'd be lovely. So I move that the governing board approve the draft of governing board member goals
And second.
as edited. Right, Hilda?
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
And a second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, Okay, it is approved unanimously, and we move on to the future board agenda items.
Quick question on the goals, once, well, now they're not drafted anymore. Would you guys like them to, put them on board docs, like on that first page, I could put them there, if anybody happens to go under, or put it under the governing board, have on the website?
Sure.
Would,
I think it'd be nice to put it on the tab on the website, just so that we can begin communicating to our, all of our community that we're establishing goals similarly to what we're asking our schools to do, and this is one of the things we're doing to reach out
okay,
in terms of community engagement.
okay.
Thank you. Then looking at future agenda items.